I wanted to bring you an update on some cases underway right now at the U.S. Supreme Court. The way you pay for higher education and how schools consider admissions could face several changes. The Supreme Court set to rule on two cases regarding affirmative action and student debt relief.
Plaintiffs in the affirmative action case are accusing Harvard and the University of North Carolina of discriminating against white and Asian applicants in the admissions process. The court also will decide if President Biden had the authority to cancel student loans or rather give out money for student loans, and the case against the program has legal standing. Makki is an attorney and Republican strategist, and Bruce DelValle is a civil litigator and constitutional attorney. Thank you both for coming on. Amanda, we'll go straight to you. The student loan case, let's start with that one. Again, the administration, specifically President Biden, wanted to sign an EO going past Congress to give out $10,000 if you made it through their qualifications, and even more if you received the Pell Grant, $20,000 to hand out that money. Obviously, this is already that's been paused for quite some time, and it's already with the Supreme Court. How do you see this one playing out?
Well, I hope they make the right decision and don't keep taxpayers on the hook for much longer. Taxpayers like you and me have been on the hook for over 3 years now, since March 2020. And, you know, if the person who borrowed the money doesn't feel that it's fit for him or her to pay back the money, why are taxpayers like you and me on the hook for having to pay that? So I hope that the Supreme Court finds this unconstitutional. But really, look at the Republican bills that have been introduced both in the House and the Senate with bipartisan support that demonstrate really the root of the cause and going after that, which is transparency, really students understanding how much they're paying for a degree that may never yield the amount that they've paid for that degree. And it's important also for, you know, these graduate programs to lower the cost of these programs. And if they can limit the amount of money that students can borrow, then these universities will have to bring down the costs.
Yeah, there's really no incentive to lower costs if it's just going to be paid for. And then, of course, there's a question of fairness, right? If you decide, hey, this is too much money for me, I'm going to forego it, I'm going to try a different route, maybe take a trades training, why should I be paying for someone else's gender studies degree, just for example? All right, the Supreme Court, though, has expressed some skepticism, maybe, of how this might play out. And we saw it during oral arguments in December. We'll show our viewers here in case you missed it. Chief Justice John Roberts saying most would think that's something for Congress to act on. And again, this is that student debt relief. So, Bruce, to you, is there something more that can be read into this statement here about who's really footing the bill?
Yes, I think so, and that's perhaps the essential question. It's the Supreme Court has recently devised a way of looking at these things sort of in an opposition to the Chevron doctrine. It's called the major question doctrine. In issues of substance, of major questions concerning the nation and the people of the nation, Congress needs to make those decisions. An agency can't make the decision, and the executive branch can't make the decision. And we saw that in the EPA case against West Virginia, whether the EPA had the authority to set limits on the output of pollutants. And the Supreme Court said, no, they don't. Congress has to make those decisions. And I think what Justice Roberts is getting at is this is a question that Congress has to decide. Congress decided to create a fund process to fund higher education. I think Congress has to fix that. And I don't think the agency can do it, and I don't think the president can do it.
Well, you're going to have a lot of disappointed folks that rush to that website to get that application process going to qualify for that $10,000 or $20,000 of forgiveness, to find out, again, if the Supreme Court comes back and says essentially what is constitutional and what is not. But when that happens, we'll bring it to you. Amanda Makki and Bruce DelValle, we do appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
You got it.